Welcome to the Momentum Matters podcast, where we have courageous conversations with women leaders. You'll hear about their accomplishments, their experiences, their challenges, and best advice. If you are inspired by women who have overcome the barriers and gone on to do extraordinary things, you are in the right place.
Everyone, I'm so excited to have Ashley Sutton with me today here on the podcast. Ashley, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about our chat today.
Yes, me too. So let's start kind of at the beginning. You and I have known each other for some years.
Yes.
And all along the way, I have so admired your drive and determination as an entrepreneur, someone who gives back to the community in mighty ways.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your journey to entrepreneurship, or just start us on the path of how you got into communications.
Yes. So, one, I've always had a love for communications. I'll start there since I was a little girl. And it's so funny because when growing up in primary school, I actually had to take additional classes for language arts and reading because I could not, I just needed extra help and assistance around that. But I've always had a love for communications. I grew up in a bilingual family. My grandmother and my father, French. So French-speaking family. I never learned French, unfortunately, because it was English that was spoken in my home. But every time I went to my grandmother's house, she would speak to me in French, and I responded to her in English.
Wow.
So just this love of language and communications and how people communicate and how the art of communications connect with people on various levels, on a heart level. So I knew early on that I wanted to major in communications and go deeper in my studies in communications. I didn't do it until I got into my master's program, where I decided to go into journalism and study communications from there. But yeah, I've been a communications executive consultant for the past 15 years now. And entrepreneurship, I grew up in a home with parents who were entrepreneurs, who built multiple businesses. So for me, I felt like I never really saw the traditional way of the 9 to 5. Because growing up, my family, they were a family of entrepreneurs. And I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do, honestly, Katie. I was like, listen, this is too unpredictable for me, this journey of entrepreneurship. But nonetheless, I fell in love with it. And a few years ago, I decided that I wanted to give it a shot. And I have. And I've been an entrepreneur for the past 5 years now.
So what has been the most rewarding? And I heard you say it a little bit, and I think what most people, including myself, get a little bit afraid of with entrepreneurship is the risk.
Yes.
And the unpredictability.
Yeah.
Has the risk been worth the reward, and what have those rewards looked like for you?
Yes, that's a good question. So first, the reward has been being able to be present with my daughter more. Being able to pick her up early, slow mornings, being able to have slow mornings for myself. I remember just getting up in a hustle and bustle and feeling like I was in this marathon of life. Yeah. There was never enough time during the day. I'm at work for 8 hours. I'm picking up my child from nursery. We're going home sprinting, cooking dinner, washing clothes. So just having that on rinse and repeat didn't work for me. Now I've had jobs where I had the flexibility, and I thank God for those jobs when I did, and I had the flexibility, like working remotely from home and managing the things that I needed to manage on the home front. But for me, the greatest reward has been able to, just being present and being able to pick my daughter up. Like my mom, I don't remember a time she didn't pick me up from school and she wasn't there, and spending time in all of the moments. So I would say for me, that's been the most rewarding part. But there's been a lot of overcoming risk of not having a consistent income, or not knowing if, predicting what your income would be. That's a big risk for some people and for myself. But being able to overcome it with the mindset of, you never want to go into entrepreneurship like the purpose of entrepreneurship is to do something different.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times when people go into entrepreneurship, they're working just as hard, if not even harder, than they did when they were in a traditional 8 to 5, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So you always have to be able to reset and clarify your goals, right? And for me, my greatest goal in being an entrepreneur is time freedom. So if I don't have time freedom, then what am I doing this for? Right? And yes, income is at the top of my list, but time freedom is the biggest part of why I wanted to go into entrepreneurship.
So on time, do you find it hard, and how do you frame a discipline of making sure you don't work all the time? I think back to when some of us who I guess work more traditionally were in COVID. That was something that was hard for me. I was always home working, so I had to find some boundaries there. How do you do that reset? Do you when you find maybe that the time is taken up more, or that you're working a little more than you thought you would?
And no day is equal, right? So I think what I do love about entrepreneurship is that, you know, I can get a head start on Saturday or Sunday for my week if I want to. I can make decisions like I traditionally do. I don't work on Mondays and Fridays, right? Those are my days to catch up. Those are my days to reset. Those are my days to really see what I need to follow up with the next day, right? Another thing I implemented is I work some days out the house. I do have a home office, but I realized in my home office there was no work life, divide, or so I'll find myself in my office but stopping. Oh, let me go start the laundry. In my house but stopping. Oh, let me start dinner right now. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is not great for me. I want that divide where I'm able to go out, work, and come home and let home feel like home without it being restricted in a way where my work and my home, it was getting mixed up. And So for me, to answer your question, being able to be a great steward over my time, and that hasn't always been the best for me, right? Because I look up, I pick my daughter up at 2:45, 3 o'clock, and I'm like, the day is gone. What did I do today? So being able to be clear on what I'm doing each day before the day start, that's how I kind of work through that.
I love that. Well, and that brings us to really what I want us to cover today, which is something you're really passionate about, which is advocating for rest and leadership. And as a leadership skill. Talk to us about what that means to you and why you feel it's so important.
Well, for me, I believe that I was the poster child for burnout. Poster child for burnout. Highly ambitious, high-performing woman. Overcoming woman, I should say.
I have a feeling we have a lot of those listening.
Right. And just feeling like my work was my identity, but I kept on hitting brick walls. And the brick walls were I was not prioritizing my rest. And in that, it caused quick burnout. It caused sickness in my body, right? It caused, a lot of fear and doubt. It stirred in me a lot of confusion about vision and what I wanted for myself, right? And in that, I realized that I can't continue to live life this way. And in 2020, when I left the workforce and I made the brave decision, 2021, I believe, after COVID and after having a job that was really demanding on me, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, I realized that I had to start doing something differently. And one of the ways I started implementing a difference in my life is really taking my rest and making rest a priority. And when people think about rest, Katie, they think about sleep. Right? And that is just a small portion of rest. Yes, sleep is vital. We need sleep. But being in a rested state of mind, both in your spirit, your emotions, your body, your mind. And what does that look like? For me, it looked like having slow mornings. You're gonna always hear me talk about slow mornings, right? Because I believe that it is a trauma response for us to wake up and just start moving, start going without a thought about how we want, or without an intention, I should say, about how we want to set up our day. So I take these slow mornings. I wake up, whether that's waking up before my family, waking up before my daughter, but I'm very intentional about how I jump into my day. I'm very intentional about what my day look like. That does not look like me waking up and jumping on my phone. It doesn't look like me waking up and jumping on, looking at emails to see what emails were sent. You know what I'm saying? It means me waking up with intention about, okay, I am alive this day, right? I'm going, what is it? What is my intention for this day? How do I want to feel this day? What is it that I need to do this day to make me feel successful during the day? And it simply came from conversations with friends, with leaders, with clients, and high-performing women who will all admit to me, Ashley, I'm tired. And not just physically tired, but soul tired. And they would admit that they didn't want the corner office or the next big promotion if it would cost them their peace.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, so as you're setting intention, and I love that so much, I also wake up before the sun.
Yes.
My husband and I wake up probably around 5. If I hit the snooze button, it's a little more around 5:15.
Yes.
So that I can kind of start the day slowly, drink my coffee in peace.
In peace, yes.
And, kind of ease into the day. I don't set intentions per se. So when you're doing that, do you write them down? Do you mentally just kind of think of a word for the day? How do you practice
Yes. So journaling, I call it. So there is a book, and it's slipping my mind. And I will tell you the book, so you can probably paste this in the resources. But basically, the first, you do a brain dump in the morning.
Okay.
So for me, the brain dump would look like journaling, or maybe the brain dump would just look like me just professing, this is going to be a great day. I look forward to this day. I look forward to whatever this day brings, much prayer and meditation about the day. So that's really how I set my intentions for the day ahead.
Yeah, and we will get that resource and link it for sure.
Yeah.
I do think that there is, when we think of rest, you're right, we think of sleep. And sometimes when people hear self-care, that's another word that kind of has this connotation of selfishness.
Yes.
But you and I have discussed that it's really selfish not to rest.
Yes.
Because then you're not your best for other people. Talk to us about the benefits of the white space in your day and being able to strategize and think. I think so many of us high-achieving, ambitious women can get so busy doing that we don't find time for that white space.
Yes.
What does that look like to you, and how could you encourage other people to maybe pursue that?
That's good. So one of the ways I would encourage people to pursue that is really having personal boundaries. I know that we live in a society that demands so much of our availability, demands so much of our time. So what would it look like if you give yourself back your time?
Yeah.
Right? If you set intention on between 12 to 1 or 12 to 2, I remember I was working with a leader and they had no meeting time, no talk time on their calendar. So you can book between certain hours, but between the hours that they had, no meeting, no book, focus time. That's what they put in their calendar, focus time. And we knew not to book any of those times, and you better find another time, right? So I would encourage a leader to implement focus time. And, some people call that your high achieving time or your most productive hours of the day. That may look different for everyone. I know a leader who implement a 20 minutes where they just close their eyes. They don't necessarily sleep, but they just rest and they go. My husband does that. He'll stop. He's in a car all the time because he's in sales, and he'll go to the park and just lay back and just close his eyes and rest for 20 minutes. And whatever that does to him, he's more energized the second part of the day. Right? So implementing a focus time, implementing and having personal boundaries around your time and honoring that for you and not placing so much of availability and allowing people to have demand on your time, I should say.
I think that's huge, and that's something that since being here at Momentum, I've really received permission for.
Yes.
Is those personal boundaries and taking that time to rest. I used to be the person who, and I think a lot of us are this way, right? Especially probably women our age or maybe younger, we grew up in a time where people could get access to you instantly.
Yes.
And so we almost feel this need to respond instantly. And I remember April, our CEO, I was receiving coaching from her, and I'd asked her, how do I get out of my inbox? Mm-hmm. And it was really the first time I felt like I received permission to not feel like I had to immediately respond to something. Similar for vacation.
Yes.
I was always the person who felt like I was making it easier on myself to check email while I was on vacation.
Wow.
And I recently shared this with you in another conversation, but I did a little experiment probably 6 months ago and made an effort to do exactly what you're saying and put a personal boundary and respect my own time that I took off and not check my email.
That's so good. I'm proud of you.
It was very trying.
I'm sure.
But what I found, and hopefully this will encourage some of our listeners, I came back to about 460 emails.
Wow.
The reality was that only about 8 to 10 of them were actionable or required my time.
Wow.
And so that experiment showed me that I've been creating this false narrative in my mind that the world needs me while I'm away.
Yeah.
And so I hope that women will hear this and hear what you're saying and really learn that it's okay to step away. As a matter of fact, it's better for your team to do that.
Yeah.
So rest as a leadership skill.
Yes.
You've done a lot of executive coaching.
Yes.
So how did that begin to present itself for you? And how did you get into executive coaching to begin with?
Yes, great question. So working in communications as a communications executive for years, I always used to be in so many intimate spaces and confidential spaces with leaders, right? And I saw that there was a lot that they carried, right? More than me coaching them on speaking points or on press conferences or on crisis management, there was something more that they needed. And I believe that that more was this level of authentic leadership that they weren't given permission to carry.
Right.
And when I decided to take a shift in my career, I wanted to focus on the total person, right, behind the leader. And I made a decision that it wasn't enough just to coach them on talking points. I wanted them to get to the core of who they were and allow them to embody those talking points, embody their leadership, embody how to speak to their stakeholders in an authentic way. Now, authenticity, it looks different for us all, right? I know we hear that a lot, authentic leadership, but what does that look like? What does that look like for a minority woman, right? Who just 3 years ago, the Crown Act passed about being able to have the freedom to even wear our natural hair into some of these spaces. So we have to understand that authentic leadership looks different to everyone. And for some people, when they do hear authentic leadership, they clamp up because what does that mean? And how can I honestly be who I am? So that's how I got into executive coaching. I decided that I wanted to go get certified in this because I wanted to learn how to speak better to the leaders in which I was serving. And the rest came in, like, honestly, just working with leaders and realizing that some leaders can go without ever stopping. And it sounds good and it has been celebrated, right? Exhaustion is like a badge of honor in our society. But there's a report from Mercer's Global Trend Report in the workplace that 82% of employees are at risk of burnout. Wow. Exhaustion is an epidemic in our society.
It is.
Right? And it's impacting our mental health. It's impacting our physical health. You know, and what does that look like when we truly become a society that embraces and celebrate the fact that, no, Katie, I don't want to go on vacation. I simply just need time to rest. You know, so many times we cite the reason when we need to take time away from work as vacation or picking up kids or taking care of our ailing family members. But what if? Can we imagine for a minute if we become a society that simply celebrates the fact that people need to rest and that they do need some time just to center themselves and become whole in body, mind, and spirit. So.
And I've heard you say you're from Louisiana.
Yes.
I want to dig in here a little bit. You mentioned to me before that there's not one recipe.
Yes.
What did you say about gumbo?
Okay. So I always call it the gumbo of success. I'm from Louisiana. We love gumbo.
Yes.
But I also realize, depending on who home you go into, the gumbo is made differently. Right? Yeah. Especially in Alabama.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry too. Especially in Alabama. A lot of times people make gumbo in Alabama, what we will call okra gumbo in Louisiana. So more like a rice-based gravy. But in Louisiana, it's more or less like a soup. And with the roux. So when we think about the gumbo of success, everyone has different ingredients of what success looks like for them, right? We call that in coaching our intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. Everyone motivations is differently, depending on how you feel that day. I remember my mom used to make the gumbo spicy. But if she didn't want spicy gumbo, she wasn't going to make spicy gumbo. Maybe she wanted more, seafood than, sausage. So she would just make it differently depending on what she was trying to achieve for that day, but most importantly, who her audience was. So I talk about this gumbo of success based off of all of us individually having these ingredients and what motivates us and what inspires us to be successful.
And on that, and I love that, and I'm very hungry.
Me too.
It's been a while since I've had gumbo.
We got to get you some good gumbo.
I think that kind of relates back to what you were saying about setting intentions.
Yes.
If you've set the intention, then you know kind of how your recipe should look for the day.
Yes.
With that, and you briefly touched on it a minute ago, how do you empower people who maybe don't feel like they have permission to create their own recipe? Maybe they don't feel psychologically safe where they are. How do you coach women and leaders in general to break through that? What does that look like?
What it often look like is starting from within. There's so many clients that I had to refer out to therapists.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, right.
And we don't talk enough about that in leadership.
And listen, when we talk about our soundboard, our board of directors for our lives, I believe a therapist is 100% someone who needs to be on your board of director for your life. And many times when I do speak to leaders, there will be some things that they're dealing with that has nothing to do with what's in front of them. So I would suggest that they go and they get, just counseling or therapy around a certain issue from childhood experiences, from adulthood experiences that they have not been able to get over on their own. So that's first and foremost. Second, I will ask them, because there is a lot of imposter that we deal with within ourselves, right? The who told us, like who told you that? And that's a big question I ask my clients all the time. I was working with a woman leader. She was a VP, and she was just promoted to that position, the first of its kind in the organization. And she had so many thoughts about who felt the way, what people ideals was about her in that role. Like, I think I was promoted because of this, and I was promoted because of that. And, and I said, who told you that? She was like, well, I'm just assuming. I said, so no one told you that. So that's my favorite question, even self-talk, like, who told me that? Okay, did I hear that from someone, or is that what I'm perceiving it to be? Because Katie, we can make monuments in our head.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true, So, and the best way to find out is if it's true is just ask.
Right. Yeah, that's so good.
Just ask.
Yeah.
My husband and I, we've been married for 11 years, and we have this, just ask. Instead of assuming, just ask. Because intent is not always impact. So what someone intended it to be and how it impacted you, that's different. I can say, oh no, that's not my intention, but the way I impacted you can be something different.
Right.
So I would tell that leader, one, to ask themselves, why do I believe this to be true? And if I do believe this to be true, by evidence of that, what is my plan of action? Right. Who do I need to speak to? What is my plan of action to maybe transition, right? Because I believe in healthy work environments.
Yes. Yes.
So
it's so important, and those are really, really awesome recommendations. And one of the things that I think does get missed is, like I mentioned, the therapy.
Oh, yes.
That I'm guilty of that too, right? It's like on your list of things to do, it can tend to fall to the bottom.
Yes.
I'll make time for that tomorrow. Oh, well, it's next week now. Then it's a month after that.
Yes.
And if we can't get to the root of the issue, then, like you said, nothing gets better.
Yeah. And it looks different in every season of life. I tell people, so many times we think, okay, if we're not doing it a certain way, then we shouldn't do it at all. One year I was going to the therapist every week. This year I probably only seen my therapist 2 times. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on every season of life of what's pressing for you in that moment.
So that's great permission to give people, right? I'd love to know your thoughts, and obviously you are an executive coach.
Yes. Yes.
But how do people, I think this could be a question that some of our listeners ask themselves. And I've always been a proponent that we have coaches in all areas of our life.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you might as well have one at work, right?
Yes.
How does someone know that they're ready for an executive coach? And do they need it before they become a quote unquote executive?
Yeah.
How does someone determine that?
So it comes by way of feedback. I believe that if there is something that's constantly showing up for you in the workplace, whether that's not meeting deadlines on time or not willing or ready to take proper feedback from your colleagues or your boss, if there's something that you are trying to overcome and work through, that's indication that you may need a coach to help you, right? To really just get to the roots, but also to help you come up with strategies. I believe in coming up with strategies. I give my clients homework. I give them that, and it's nothing big. It's nothing, it's light work, but it reached them right where they are. But I believe that, one, just being able to get that feedback, or if there's something that's constantly coming up for you, and guess what? Most likely, and I say this all the time, if it's happening one place, it's happening everywhere. If it's happening in the workplace, more than likely it's happening at home. Most likely it's happening at home. Right? If you're showing up and you're not performing your best, or you're not meeting deadlines, and you're not honoring yourself in certain ways in the workplace, it's happening at home. I almost guarantee you it's happening at home, in your relationships with others, with maybe carpool with your kids. It's happening, so what is the root of it? And what do you need to better assist you to become the best executive you need to be? Because coaching is about asking the right questions.
Yeah, that only we really
can answer
for ourselves, right?
90% of the time, when I ask the question, they answer it for themselves. And they'd be like, and I'd be like, there you go. They'd be like, what? I'm like, that's the answer. Again, going back to that permission, because most women executives, leaders, we're not used to hearing our own voices.
And if we do, it's usually negative.
Yes, it's usually that negative chat. Even when someone say, oh, you got a beautiful blouse. Oh, this is old. We're telling ourselves that the blouse is old. Even someone else, they don't even know that. They just know that they like the blouse. So we hear a compliment, but we follow up with something negative. Just watch, go be around women leaders, women in general. Oh, I like your shoes. Oh, girl, I've had these for years. Because that's what we tell ourselves.
That's one of the things that Momentum helped me with is, and I was so bad about that before Momentum, and being here, being around our wonderful group of facilitators and our curriculum, I learned to say thank you.
Yes.
Like that's what you say. You just thank
you. And it's hard.
Yeah, and then believe them.
Yeah.
Believe them.
That's good. I like that. What I was doing, it reminds me, I was doing a training with a group of women, and I made each woman sit in the middle where all of their colleagues and their bosses went around and told them something that they like about them. And they literally just had to be quiet.
Were there tears flowing?
It was tears flowing, all the things. And I said, okay, pull out your phone. I want you to record this. So everyone, I just love your ability to share.
I'm thinking about it.
And everyone was just like, oh my goodness. But it was so like, they couldn't say anything. And they were just, you could tell how stuck they were because they were so used to following good compliments up with negativity. So no, you're going to sit and you're going to hear these good compliments about yourself because I want you to believe them even if you don't believe yourself.
That's so good. Well, Ashley, as we wrap up our time here, I like to ask my guests some rapid fire questions.
Let's
just
do
like
it.
Brene Brown,
Yes.
because I love when she does that on her podcast. So these are quick 1, 2, 3-word answers.
Okay.
that
Oh, no,
just
like now I'm
pop
nervous.
into your mind. So I'd love to know, what is on your playlist?
Go Get It, Mary, Mary.
Okay, we'll have to listen to that one. What is your favorite restaurant in Birmingham?
Epis,
Oh,
a Mediterranean restaurant.
here.
It's
Okay.
new, it's down the street, so
Okay.
good. They have lamb rolls, so good, delicious, so Epis.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a daughter
Yes.
named Artist. I
Yes.
like her name. What is one word you think of when you think of her?
Joy.
And that's your middle name.
That's her middle name.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
She is a joy. She definitely is.
I love
Yeah.
it. Okay. And then, are you a football person?
No.
Oh, so I can't ask you Alabama or Auburn.
I would say Roll Tide though.
Okay, good.
I would say Roll Tide.
Good.
Yes.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This has been a treat for me. I know we're going to have a bonus episode for our Momentum members.
Yes.
Where we are going to talk a little bit about your experience on the TEDx stage.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so excited about diving into that.
Yes.
And this has been a joy.
Well,
a
thank
joy.
you. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Katie. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Momentum Matters. We invite you to subscribe to our podcast as we share more important conversations with women leaders. We would love for you to rate our show and share with others in your life. This episode of Momentum Matters was produced by Social U and brought to you by America's Thrift Stores, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, Protective Life, and Regions Bank. A full list of corporate partners can be found at momentumleaders.org. We also want to thank the individual donors, Momentum members, and volunteers for their commitment to our mission.